welcome to this new video. Welcome everyone to this new video for the backpack community and everyone interested in this new exchange which is backpack. And because for now it's a channel mainly quite focused on backpack. We'll see over time if we shift towards other backpack products. Today we're going to look at a little update, some points gained. There was the distribution there this morning. We'll also do a little market analysis, an analysis on BTC and ETH. Well, mainly BTC because there's less and less to say, unfortunately, about ETH. The more time passes, the less there is to say. As for the points, we found ourselves, for the last video we talked about the points. I have a bit of a memory lapse, but maybe it was during this distribution that was a bit disappointing. I will try to remember, but maybe we had a positive ranking in the PLA, although perhaps an average slightly negative ranking for the week with $45,000 in volume. The following week I had we found ourselves, maybe we ended up in a kind of in-between where I was trying to optimize the points with you. Very little spot activity during those farming weeks. Here the PNL ranking was positive. I must have been in the 1,000-1,500 with 90k, 95k in volume over 7 days, and now we are the distribution today. I tried to review, so it's a week that cost me a lot, partly because I wasn't very good at my trading. I reduced the delta neutral. I focused on directional. I did $600,000 in volume. A ranking in PNL on the, if we have to average it, an average for the week that was quite positive. But on the last day, so yesterday, the day before yesterday, since distributions are done on at French time, Thursday at 2 o'clock in the morning. So until Wednesday I acted very badly. We'll look into that together later. We'll see that together on the chart. But I got swayed by a certain time frame and I went negative. But proof is that I don't think that they take a snapshot. At first I thought that, but with a bit of hindsight, it does seem less logical to take a snapshot while you've been trading all week. What would be the point of showing PNL rankings for the past 7 days if in the end it would be to take a snapshot on Thursday at 2 in the morning French time? It's true that it doesn't make much sense. So this week, 2,000 points, it's huge. I'm very happy with this week of farming. You can see there has been quite a bit of activity, right? A lot of trades, huh? However, one should be cautious with the number of recorded trades because I can have a large position. And in fact, as soon as I have a little positive profit and loss, which increases my equity, my available funds, when there is a bit of positive profit and loss, and I add to the position, even if it's $30 of notional value or even $5, well, in the end, I place an order to add to the position. So it's not 120 immense trades that are sent now, so that's what you have to be careful about. So 600,000 in volume this week, quite a sustained spot activity. So there you go. I'm trying to give you some context. I sustain spot activity every day from spot purchases that I will hedge, that I will short on either backpack or hyperliquid with auto lend activated. So the spot I buy will earn me funds in lending. It will automatically go into lending. There you go. Before continuing on that, I wanted to give a little reminder for people whose countries are not yet available for the KYC officially. When you go to the site, I invite you to send us an email to the address in the description, because in fact there are certain countries where it is officially still in closed beta, like France and other countries in the European Union. But, well, as you can see in my specific case, I've had the platform for some time. I even got the legacy drop from the alpha when the site was still in alpha. So there you go, proceed with the KYC. It's good for traders, for those who want to trade. If you go through the process of wanting to sign up eventually not to trade, your account will be deleted because they still have limited spots for the betas, and so they don't want to keep the people who are not trading. So if you plan to trade, you want to farm the potential airdrop a bit, Well, I invite you to come, and if your KYC is not available, I invite you to contact us by email to validate the KYC internally with them. And I also wanted to remind you that people who sign up on Backpack using the link in the description, our affiliate link, we give back $30, I think, $30 or $40 per $1 million of traded volume. So, well, it can go relatively fast with leverage, but there you go. We can also adapt the offer. We can give back $15 per 500,000 in traded volume. Anyway, we give back to the people who affiliate with us. So that's about it for my week of farming. So quite an intense spot activity. That I short in perpetual. I short with with derivatives and $600,000 of volume. The problem is, what of this? Maybe, I don't know if I'll constantly have weeks like this. I was actually thinking about it yesterday. I was saying to myself, maybe I'll trade normally on the platform. I'm going to trade normally. It can also cost me money because I say trade normally, because doing a lot of volume in delta neutral, all that, it costs a lot. The problem is that it's very expensive in fees. A week at $600,000 of volume, on which we are only doing market orders, it's still a week that costs $300 in fees times 2, more or less, if you try to hedge elsewhere on a platform, all that. So it's still very costly. We are aware when we farm an airdrop, the goal is that unfortunately it costs money to try to hope for a huge return. If there is an airdrop, there is. But there you go, those are my indications. So a week of trading to make roughly 2,000 points. I don't have an affiliate on this account because it's my account. There are two of us here. We have the account of the other person who trades on this account, where we receive all the affiliates from the YouTube channel. And this is my personal account on which I don't have an affiliate ranking. So there you go, $600,000 in volume, an average positive PNL for the week. And a sustained spot activity with active auto lend. And there you go, it gives us a small average at 2,000 points. So that's interesting. Feel free to give feedback in the comments if there are those who have good strategies to farm that, so we can discuss it together. But there you go. Overall, we find ourselves on the BTC chart. We'll try to do a little analysis. Much more to say about BTC than TH, very honestly. I hope the chart doesn't seem stupidly filled to you. It's still quite clear to me because it's a matter of habit. There, as a reminder, it's trend trading. We try to go find to fill gaps and to pursue these trends with the moving averages. So we have in green the 100 moving average. Hop, let's perhaps switch to another one. The moving average, 100 in green, the 300 moving average in red, and in black the 200 moving average. It's an average of price. This line represents a price average over so many candles of the time frame you are in. For example, a 200 moving average in daily, this line gives us the average of the last 200 candles in daily. So these are very interesting zones. In the end, there is nothing magical. As I said previously, it's simply mathematics, and we try to find things with these mathematics. That's it. And we also have what I call the small trend. The big moving averages are my big trends that give me gaps to fill, important areas to look for. And we have the small trends, the moving averages 15, 25, and 32. And there you go. So this trading system is simply based on finding horizontal levels to rely on, such as supports and resistances. And we add to this confluence with moving averages. Typically, as we can have right now here on the daily for BTC, we have a pretty good support zone. We see that it's an area where the price very often, I'll rather put this at the top on the price. The price has often reacted there, so it's interesting. We have big examples of rejection and acceptance. So at the moment, that's what's happening. Additionally, we have the small averages here that it gives us a nice confluence in the end. How did I get caught? How did I unfortunately hit my PNL to make it negative on the last day of farming? Hope I had sent a long You see that once again in 4 hours. It's very concrete, this zone in 4 hours, because you can see there are lots of reactions. We have a reaction here, a reaction here, a reaction here. Here we have a fake out. It's part of the game. You can imagine that a trading system, I doubt there is, maybe it exists. It's rare to have 100% success with a trading system. You have to deal with fake outs, hence the need to trade with low leverage, with a lot of depth, as I was saying earlier, a lot of depth to have relatively distant liquidation prices to allow yourself the time to see the closures. But there you go, fake outs are part of the game. Hence the reason to buy, not just anywhere here thinking no, but we're aiming a bit higher. That's unfortunately what I did a bit. I rushed into my last position. We'll look at that together on Backpack later. That's why buying close to interesting points, relatively close, because in the end, it's better to buy close to the interesting point, take the fake out, close at minus 90%, minus 1%, rather than wanting to buy hastily there and in the end take a minus 2% hit. We still prefer the other option. So how did I get caught? There be bit silly mistakes, I think, inattentive errors. I had taken a position at the recovery of this zone because I told myself we're covering this zone for the umpteenth time, so it remains relatively interesting. And I don't know why I went to look at these huge wicks we see here. Yeah, that's it, Wednesday. These huge wicks we see here, I don't know why I preferred to interpret them on the 1 hour chart. So in the end, the huge wick we saw on the 4 hour chart, it's simply that. I'm trying to deal with it. I'm trying to tell myself, I'm trying to accept the situation. I tell myself maybe I'm quite justified in having cut on a candle like that 1 hour, because honestly, hard to be confident after an immense 1 hour candle like 2%. With a bit of hindsight, I should have stuck to my convictions and my position made over 4 hours. So I should have said, okay, I wait for the 4 hour close. In the end, it would have allowed me to survive, to bounce back, to see that retest, and finally continue to have my PNL in the green that keeps rising. Here, I would still have the same position. That wouldn't have been too bad, but we deal with it. We try to move forward. Specifically. The video is a bit delayed in the sense that I would have preferred to make the video when we are on the support to tell you, yes, we have an interesting position. By the way, I would like to remind you that in the previous market analysis, we have been relatively pixelated. I let you go watch it on the channel. I was talking about taking a position nevertheless below the 300 moving average, but which corresponded to a huge key point, a huge support in 4 hours and daily, which is this one throughout. I was talking about taking a position here, and in the end we did relatively well. I'll show you the screenshots, and I had told you that I took a position from here and that my invalidation was the close below this level, and in the end we did relatively well. I don't remember how long I kept it. I'll put the screenshots on the screen anyway. The PNL cuts, I followed the plan I mentioned in the video and it went relatively well, and we're going to try to reiterate here. We're actually in a mindset where this level, the more a level is tested, the more we can interpret that it is weakening. It is not a general rule, but it is what we can interpret. This level has still been relatively well tested. We had the fake out that came to scrape the liquidity in its wicks. Then we came back to retest it twice. Basically, I don't want us to go back to it. The invalidation at that level isn't even about waiting for a closure below. At the limit, the invalidation could be a stop loss on this wick. I don't want us to return to this support level. A bit like just like here. In the end, it was an ultimate test. We had a bit of this kind of ultimate test on daily. It's quite convincing still on daily. We clearly have it's the fast breakout of this level, the slow retest, and the bit is always a principle of the banana market hop, which happens. It's like that. Well, that's exactly what we remarkably have here. I don't want to see this level retested. We have a position to take here. I am already in position, as you can see here. I am already in position. A miserable entry price, honestly miserable. I rushed. I think it's the psychological aspect that took over, the frustration of not having held here. I had a little panic about wanting to move to a 1 hour chart when I had nothing to do in 1 hour. I'm fine. I have clear levels on the 4 hour chart. So stay in positions where it's clear in your mind, where everything is squared away. Don't rush into lower time frames foolishly. It's clearly not useful. For those who manage to purchase at this level, all the better. It's a level I consider very important. If that's still not the case, we have things to do here. We can have this kind of position, although in case we buy close to the support level, my invalidation, there isn't really any. My invalidation is I wait for the close. For example, if I took my position on the 4 hour time frame, I wait for a 4 hour close below my key level. But right now we're still above this key level. So we can try to, knowing that I don't want to go back to this support, here is what the position I'm interpreting here might result in. The target price could be the hunt for all these wicks. In the end, when we think about it, we also have them on the downside. Of course, we also have them on the downside, but we have a lot that have been hunted. We have an interesting support retest. And here we have we have a bunch of wicks to go hunt down, plus ultimately a mega resistance level to possibly retest in the end. We're not in a range where we're trying to, once we're at the bottom, at the base of the range, we're trying to go. We have high probabilities of revisiting the top of the range. We're not really in a range, we're just at key supports that have been drawn here. We see that it's an important level on the daily chart, but it's much more striking on the 4 hour chart. In 4 hours, it's much more striking. It's a level that was key here for triggering all of this. It's a level that was retested to go back down, that has been retested many times, and that was also retested on a single week here. So there you go. What I want to see here, as I said, I'm not even going to try to cheat with you. I have the position here. I'm going to try to adopt a classic trading approach, and more when I feel the market is going to become boring, I will switch to delta neutral to avoid losing money foolishly. When we retest important levels, when I have pretty clear positions in my mind, I'm going to try to play them. So here is what is interesting to look for. The best, of course, would have been to buy close to the horizontal levels. So in this case, two possibilities here: either pre-short the position, because basically we don't want to return to the support zone that has already been retested too much. We want it to clearly take off. So two choices here: sit on your hands or step forward, take initiatives on the support zone we had, and buy now while targeting roughly 88.8, 89. So that's what I'm currently trying. I think we'll be able to check in next week. For now, it's gone quite well. The last and first time I talked about taking a position in a video, it was here. It was my position here, with the importance of maintaining this level and not closing below. That's exactly what beautifully happened. We were able to print, as you could see on the PNL card. That's what I'm trying here. For BTC 8th, as you can see, we're going to have a lot in 4 hours and daily. It's quite disturbing. Honestly, it's quite worrying. I like using the linear format to remove the mental image of bad vibes or the noise on the chart. I like using linear. I find it it's typically an interesting case. Over 3 days with linear, we can see the recovery much too fast, that we didn't have time to catch on this support level. And in the end, we see the quite splendid retest. That's why I like to use linear. Then it's over 3 days. For example, I don't take positions over 3 days. These units are much too long, but it allows me to zoom out and tell myself, okay, to breathe on the chart, to simplify my chart and see key levels, important levels. You see, it's very striking in the end. I think I hadn't even done it, discovering it at the same time as you. That says something. So there you go. What I'm critical of, however, regarding BTC, I'm coming back to that, is the fact of having really panicked on this 200 EMA. But in the end, this is where you have to be cautious. We find ourselves stuck between the small trends plus the support level and the 200 MA. There is a level that will break, and it will break strongly. What I keep in mind is that there are a lot of wicks here after all, hence the fact that it's a combination of confluences of important levels that makes me want to go long on this level rather than going short or sitting on my hands right now. As for TH, much less interesting because yes, ETH is low, yes, ETH has taken a bit of a hit, but we can completely accumulate in spot. Good idea, for example, after such negative percentages, go accumulate in spot if you're still interested in the coin. But from a graphical point of view, we must admit that we have fewer and fewer interesting things. Having the 3-day close tonight, can we attempt a small W on ETH over 3 days? That could start to be interesting. I think by next week we'll have something to talk about. It might be a bit more interesting. We see that we sort of have in fact, it really plummeted ETH. What needs to be understood is that it plummeted a lot, plummeted. We started to see a phase of accumulation, of consolidation. That's the word I was looking for. It failed once again. We are returning to an area that threw up a W, a lateralization. It might start to get interesting. This is typically the kind of thing we want to start seeing, but that's what happened here. The goal is not to get completely caught, but honestly, we could completely try to pre-short and try to go for longs. It may be a bit suicidal, but it can be done. We've returned to 1,300, which is relatively low. If we take the chart, what's interesting, what I like to do is take the Bitstamp chart, which has the most history, has a huge history, has all the history of TH, and look back, we did break through a MA 300. Unfortunately for TH, these are extremely low levels. As I say, accumulating spot, yes, every day. If you're interested in OTH, that's what I do. I accumulate spot DCA every month on OTH and BTC. Pre-short of longs can be done, but it's at your own risk, honestly. In 2 weeks, we hammered 200 EMA that had been magnificently well retested and had resisted. We completely went below it. Overall, the TH is in very bad shape. In fact, I'm not going to spend more time because there's not much to say. It's very light what we have on the TH. Not too many horizontal levels. Yes, I can start drawing levels like that, but there's not much history on these levels in the end. There might be something to try, but honestly, I prefer to focus for now. Maybe in the meantime, 2 days after the video, I'll switch to Ethereum, but at the moment, that's not the goal. Especially since we can see it's gaining strength against Bitcoin currently. The problem with Ethereum Bitcoin is that we have an Ethereum Bitcoin that's also losing a lot. It's only been losing up to now. Very honestly, go easy with taking the initiative on TH. Go easy with pre-shots of TH. It's better to remain cautious because he still has not ideal, but we are monitoring. We're monitoring, and maybe by next week we'll have something to discuss. Feel free if you have questions, whether it's about trend trading with EMAs or point farming on Backpack. Don't hesitate. I hope you enjoyed the video and that it guided you in your current position, and next week on Backpack. See you very soon. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for continuing to listen to the videos on the channel. See you soon, and thank you all